Rest is not sleep, and it's definitely not a screen. Most men have never actually rested a day in their life. Rest sounds like just collapsing on the couch, probably with a screen, whether it's watching the game or playing a game or scrolling on your phone. But that's not really rest. That's avoiding what you're actually feeling, where real rest will bring you back to a place of peace. You come back better, you re-engage well. The test is ask yourself, did you deal with the intensity and the energy of the day, or did you just bury it? The screens, video games, TV, scrolling, you're not processing anything. That's just delaying it. Real rest is something that lets your emotions settle instead of getting swept under the rug. Probably 15 years ago, Lori asked me to go and build a box. No instructions, just build me a box. That box taught me what rest really was, and I'll come back to it. There's a way to tell whether what you did is real rest or just another form of numbing, another form of escape. We'll talk about how you know the difference between the two. So a question that can help is, did it create something or consume your time? Is it just something where I invested time? For all the video games I ever played, and I played a lot of them, I never really walked away with much of a sense of accomplishment or feeling satisfied. Rest can be an active thing. It can be something that takes your focus and energy and having a plan. It's not necessarily about doing nothing. It's about doing something that brings you more peace and more presence. Lori asked me to build a box. Some days I was able to spend more time than other days, but it took focus and energy, and I had to have a plan for that box because I was using all these tools that I had and I wanted a particular result, so I had to have a plan for that. And while there were some frustrations, my time had been invested in creating something, not just being distracted, but invested in the thing that I was working on. I was very present. If you're working with power tools, you can make mistakes very quickly, and those don't end well. I created something, and I never got that from a video game, not once. And then I built another box, and they got better, and I built, several boxes, and then I started building other things. And from that, not only did I get a sense of accomplishment, but being satisfied with what I made and recognizing that I had developed a skill that I was proud of. A screen takes your time, and a skill like that gives you something back. There's many studies, real evidence that being outside, walking or sitting still in nature is something that men absolutely need in order to become restored. The problem is most men, when they go outside, they tend to go out there with a purpose. They're going to work out. They've got a project. They got to cut the grass. There's some goal. But the point in this case is to go outside with no particular plan other than to be present. And it doesn't require that you go to the mountains or go on a long trip. It can be 10 or 15 minutes. Step outside, sit in a chair, sit on a bench, do something, and stop. I have a patio right out this door. And I would go out and watch the birds and squirrels and the wind in the trees. And because it was a safe place where I didn't have to worry about people or what I was going to see, I could watch anything I wanted, and I didn't have to worry about feeding my addiction. And like most men, I felt like there's got to be some task, and there isn't. It's about being present. Guys typically experience time in a way that is not helpful. We experience time by watching the clock. Another way of experiencing time is to be event-oriented. People that are clock-oriented are always thinking about the next thing, and then the next thing after that. And so if this moment's boring, they just want to get through this moment so that they get to the next thing. For me as an addict, that fed kind of the addiction of I'm entitled to be entertained. But I think for most men, it feeds that busyness. I need to be doing something of value when the value is the event that you're in. And so people that are event-oriented, they're doing what they're doing until they're done. They enjoy life more. That's one of the big things that this information brought to me, is that people who can be more event-oriented, enjoy life a whole lot more. Rest is learning to be event-oriented, even if it's only for 15 minutes. So it's about I can be right here and have an alarm go off after my 15 or 20 minutes. You can watch the clock or you can live in the moment, but you can't do both. Ultimately, rest becomes a state of mind or a way of approaching events. For most of our marriage, I believe the vacation started basically when the car was unpacked and at the hotel. We were at the place. And that meant that the whole trip, I was just a jerk to be around because I was not okay with being here. I needed to be there. And until we got there, everybody was holding us up. And I had this arbitrary, we have to be there by this time kind of thinking. My heart about it was, well, let's get to the place. It was not about the location. It was about being more present with Lori, being more present with my family, going from that kind of state of mind. And so recently, I've been trying to do this recently. This is my new way of kind of approaching some of those vacations. And that is, I drive slower than I need to. Somewhere between 5 and 10 miles an hour under the speed limit. That used to drive me crazy. I used to be the guy that was 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, and I was always kind of leaning forward and I need to get past this car and past that car. And now, cars pass me, I don't seem to notice as much, I'm not carrying as much stress, and I can be very present with Lori and the other people around me. And then when I get to my destination, I'm not stressed out. I'm just as rested, almost, as when I left. And my thinking was that rest was a place I had to reach, but it's really a frame of mind that I can carry with me. How are you going to tell, was I resting or was it just another escape? With real rest, you're going to come back with more peace. You are going to come back better. The evidence is, how do you show up after, not how good it felt when you were there. The numbing and the resting, they can sometimes feel similar. I felt for years like video games were really giving me rest, and they weren't, because I could be such a jerk when I came back. Something you can practice this week is take 15 minutes outside with no particular purpose. Sit in a chair, look at the trees, check out the birds. You're not going out there to work out. You're not going out there to mow the grass. Pay attention to something. I did a short video about paying attention, and so I'll put a link to that video. I also recommend that you set a time limit, because you don't want this to be another escape. Your wife is trusting you that this is not just another way for you to check out or abdicate. Notice how you feel when you re-engage. And if you feel more peaceful, if you feel more open, more present, then you've got your answer. Next time, we're going to be talking about physical health. This is the last foundation stone of the Storm Ready Men process. So for you, go to stormreadymen.com and take the assessment. If you're married, support your wife by sending her to the Couple Cure channel.